Provo, Utah. This is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy.
Welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate super late Final Fantasy podcast. I am your host, Caleb.
I'm your other host, Joe.
And today we are going to be talking about trying to find a fine, perfectly tuned balance of side quests in the Final Fantasy series. Now, the reason I bring this up today is because Joe and I, for the most part, have very opposing views on the side quests in Final Fantasy.
We'll get into that because I kind of disagree with you, but...
Oh, okay. I feel like for the most part you want to just go through the campaign, and that's kind of the big thing. Although, with that being said, I mean, we both did just about everything in Final Fantasy 15, so, you know...
an FF12.
Yeah.
And an FF5.
That's true. FF5. You actually did more than me.
FF10 as well.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't... The trophies, not so much, but a lot of extra stuff, yeah. Including
yes,
that.
I didn't fill in every single node. You are correct. But every side quest I had tried, with the exception of whatever other Chocobo games are after the balloon one that I couldn't do.
Oh, any more after that is too many, to be completely honest. So I want to find out what your perfect balance of side quests to main story and how you'd like to see Final Fantasy 16 play out in that regard, or any other title in the series. I mean, we get... like 3 Final Fantasies a year, it feels like, that we have to play. I mean, if we count the mobiles in there, it's more, but about 3 a year, so I want to get into that. But before we touch on that, where are you in Final Fantasy XIV's Stormblood expansion?
Well, it seems like I'm about at the halfway point in Stormblood in the campaign. Doing a lot of swimming. There's some Ninja Turtle guys that we're talking to, and I am enjoying the story a little bit. Mostly, I don't think like narratively it's really gotten me hooked, but the bad guy is really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of androgynous too, so he's got that check marked, right, for Final Fantasy baddies. He's in the Kuja camp.
I'm thinking of his henchman, the woman.
She is pretty cool. She, we've got a lot of dominatrix comments in the chat from old Dr. Rock. So he's like, dude, she'd be a great dominatrix, and she's crazy. So I totally agree. But she's pretty cool, and the samurai guy that showed up at the end of the Dragon Song War, Gosetsu or whatever, he's pretty awesome too. So I've been enjoying that a lot, and I almost for a little while I had forgotten about the whole Doma. The whole Doma thing from 2.0, those were the guys who were the refugees, and they weren't wanting to let the refugees into Ul'dah at first, and it was a big political thing, and it was like, oh, this feels like real life.
Yes.
So I was reminded of those guys. I was like, oh yeah, that's where she came from. Because sometimes with 14, I'll be looking at a character, and I'm like, all right, I know you've been here for a while, but I don't remember when you came in, and if you were to leave, I would almost not notice. Like Alphanod's sister, Alice or whatever. I honestly, I was like, where did she go? For the longest time, I've been thinking, where is this chick? She was there, and then she wasn't there. And then
it's as if during your days and days of play of this game, that little things you can forget.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It does sort of feel like that. But yeah, we're about probably about halfway, I would say, close to halfway. I think I hit level 60. I think I'm 64 or 65.
I'm in the middle of level 64, and I believe you probably did a couple extra dungeons. You were a little ahead of me all of a sudden as far as experience went. So you must have hit 65 just barely.
Yeah. I did. I've also done, I think I've done two or maybe 3 of the Black Mage specific quests. Unfortunately, thus far, I haven't gotten any new abilities or anything like that, so it's just been more story content. But the awesome thing that I found is that Shantoto totally makes her way into Final Fantasy 14. So it's like she's like possessing, or she like cast a spell with one of the dudes in 11 that allowed her to send herself to the future, kind of like a weird knockoff brand of her, like a clone kind of a thing. And so she like is possessing the main black mage that I've been taking quests from in Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, these are side things?
These are side things, but they're class specific. So it's like your white mage
Got it.
Quest line.
I was like, oh crap, I'm missing something, man.
You are, but you have to be level 60 black mage to get it. So I don't think you're going to want that.
No, I don't think I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah, it's a little much. I mean, it's one thing to jump into a Stormblood class that starts at level 50, which I kind of feel like is bullshit because most of your levels you get kind of along the way, and then it's like, okay, well, you want to play samurai, here's a 50 samurai, like, and you just have all of the abilities to then learn, which I don't know, on one hand is cool, but on the other hand, you didn't get the time to like build it up and like get excited.
That's true, but I think like there's only 3 jobs you can have in this game. And really, it's DPS, tank, or healer. And so you will have picked one of the rudimentary classes to get up to that level unless you bought a potion. And then you will know at least the job, if not the class. So I think learning the class beyond the job, not that I know, but it must be easier than learning the job straight up for the first time.
That's a good point. I mean, most DPS classes are going to run the same. They're going to have a rotation that you're going to need to memorize that you're going to want to do pretty much every time and just don't get hit, essentially. So I guess that's fair. It would be pretty boring if you had to go from 1 to 50 with a new DPS class when, like, clearly you know you're supposed to just do as much damage as possible. So, yeah, I guess. Plus, I mean, shit, there are so many people buying the potions anyway that, like, it would almost be like a slap to the face to be like, oh, well, here's a level 1. But
do we know there are a ton of people buying the potion?
It feels like, well, okay, maybe there aren't a ton of people, but I know of at least one, and because of that, I'm gonna assume that everybody's doing it. Yeah, they're all buying the damn potions. You know, the funny part though is we're actually ahead of him. Pixel Edged on the show, or he's a big Nude Clan fan. I don't think he's caught up to Ultima yet, so he'll probably hear this in like 3 months. But he bought a potion because he was finally convinced to play Final Fantasy 14. And he said the only way he was going to do it is if he bought a potion and got up to Stormblood because he wasn't really interested in the previous content, which does hurt me in a way because there's a lot of good stuff in there. But I totally understand skipping a lot of it because there is a lot of drudgery that you have to just sludge through for hours and hours. And
yeah, but that is how we know that he doesn't host the ultimate fantasy podcast.
That's true.
You have to drudge through that. And also FF11. I think we should get a medal of some kind for FF11. Just, you made it. Good job.
Yeah, Square Enix should just send us out like a nice little bust of our character.
Yeah, Square Enix, it would be awesome if like they just found the accounts of every single person who has finished every single expansion, all 1,200 of us, and gave us a little something.
I want a bronzed statue of El Husk. That's what I want. Like in the last gear that he wore, just a bronzed. That would be my prized possession right there.
Didn't me and you look the same in that game, except that I had red hair and you had brown hair?
Yeah, our faces were the same model. Yeah, I think we had different armor, obviously, by the end, but that would be way cool if they did something like that, or even like a cool little like virtual card, like thank you for holding on all these years later. Yeah. But he bought the potion, so I now feel like everyone wants the potion. But we're actually ahead of him in the story now, so we
also did 14 hours of 14.
That is true. That'll do it. I think he's only able to play like an hour a night or something like that. So I was kind of surprised. I was kind of pissy with him for a little while, though, because I'm like, buying the potion, man, we could have helped you through those early dungeons. Like, you didn't have to do it. But really, in the back of my mind, I wasn't concerned about him getting the content. I was more like, God damn it, man, we should be playing Stormblood, not all these other fucking people. It should be us. No one else. You can't have it if I can't have it. And that's how I felt about all the people streaming the game, too. I'm like, ooh, you don't have an FF show. You're just playing it because it's big right now. God damn it. But,
You're just playing a video game to play it.
Yeah, you just want to have fun. You can't just have fun here. You got to play it to review it, man, or it doesn't count. It's just optional.
Boy.
But I've been enjoying it though. We haven't had as many dungeons, but then again, I do feel like the dialogue is a little quicker. It's more interesting, and the areas are massive in this expansion too. So I've been running around and collecting the aetheryte currents. Or the ether currents to give myself the ability to fly. Now, the really irritating part about doing that in the first giant zone, the very massive one that we come into right away in Doma, it's just water. You're just swimming forever, right? The most annoying part about catching all of those currents, man, the last quest that we had in that zone was the last current that the game gave me. So, I collected all of the other ones, and I was like, what the hell? I've got all of them, but this list online says there are 4 quests, and the one in the game says 5. And then I get to that quest, and I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. And then I fly for about a tenth of the map to the next zone, and then I can't fly anymore. And I'm like, God damn it! What is that? You're like, oh, you want to fly? Well, you can, but now you don't need to be here, and you can't fly in the next zone. So good luck.
That was actually something that I realized in Heaven's Word a couple weeks ago when I was going around into a certain area, and I was like, okay, I'm going to clear this whole thing. It was the big giant snow area in Heaven's Word.
Yeah.
That just described every area in Heaven's Word, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
The main one, huge, yeah.
Lots of cliffs and crap, and it took me, I don't know, a couple hours getting all the aetherytes in that area. And even at that time, because I hadn't done the side quest to do it, nor had I finished the story up to that point to do it, I couldn't actually fly. I just found all the aetherytes for it. And I was like, screw that. And then when I could fly, I realized later, it's like, I'm not going to be in this area long enough for it to matter.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Unless you are playing this game, like our friends do, where it's like, you just go on a couple times a week, and you just play around in this world, and you have your little goals about, whatever equipment you want to buy, or maybe you're improving the house or whatever. Maybe then it could be a cool thing to open up and get the aetherytes. But if you're just going through 14 to beat it, which almost no one is,
yeah.
So this is to almost no one. But if you're just going through to beat it, I think getting the aetherytes is a gigantic waste of time. You can walk to mostly anywhere except for some places for some side quests.
Yeah, and then in that case, you could just call upon a man with a side seat on his chocobo, his flying bird, and just get a lift up there.
Which we totally found out existed last week.
Yeah, you gotta get with somebody who's been married in the game. And then you get like a side saddle chocobo mount, so you can have
Would that be cheating?
It probably feels like it. I'll have to ask the couple in question to see.
What do you mean he used the side saddle?
Yeah, why does it smell like Black Mage in this seat? Have you been seeing someone else? It just smells like burning flesh. That's what it is. It's because I'm always using Flare or Fire 4 and whatnot. But yeah, we've done I think 2 or 3 dungeons now. I know one of them was optional, and then we did a pretty big trial that was quite insane. Like, there was a lot of shit in it. So I'm pretty excited to get to the later content of this one, because it feels kind of like what it did at the end of Heaven's Word and the Dragonsong War, where we had that like nutso fight in that keep against those knight guys, and like it was super super complicated. There were like 5 or 6 things we had to look out for, and like that is very hard. And like it was like I was getting really pissed because we were running out of time, so we kept fucking dying. But that's what I look forward to, and I sense more of that coming from Stormblood. I sense more of the super complicated dungeons and really interesting trials. And I also know there's a lot more DPS check nowadays than I freaking ever remember, where it's like, do a million.
You don't do this?
Yeah, everyone gets 1 shot because I said so, unless you could do 500,000. Go, 20 seconds. So,
got 1 shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. The opportunity comes once in a queue line.
Yeah. There you go.
I am wondering, how do you feel about doing another 14 hours of 14 to plow through this game?
You know,
not rule our lives anymore.
We say plow through, But really what we mean is do a third of what's left. Or a third of the overall thing. That's about what we did the last 14-hour marathon.
It's true, but we also did a bunch of extra dungeons, and we don't have those extra dungeons to do anymore. We actually finished every dungeon that didn't require a big multiple quest line to get through. We actually did that last Sunday. So I think there is actually like a legitimate option to just really plow through the story and whatever dungeons are actually in Stormblood itself. In a 14-hour period, it would be done very quickly. I'm not saying we have to. I'm just saying, it's an option.
So maybe do we want to schedule another 14-hour marathon next Sunday?
I will say that in my current situation, I'm totally open for it.
You know what? I think we should, dude. I think we should do it, and we should spend this week. I'm going to do some numbers. I'm going to do some numbers tomorrow, and I'm going to look at what the quest will give us, what I have left, and you need to tell me what you have left. Yeah, and then I'll see, like, okay, we need to make X amount during our 14-hour run, or before that, because we're going to be playing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week. So maybe...
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Who knows? But maybe lay off a little bit on the main story and kind of try to do a little more on the dailies end, just to make sure we aren't going to get capped during that marathon. And if we do, it will only be for a little while. Because we can only do dailies with the extra bonus once a day, right? And the only other option we would have would be Palace of the Dead, which is something I want to do to the end anyways, but it isn't quite as great for XP, I don't feel, as the dailies. Plus, I don't know. I'm a little bit ahead on the XP, and so are you actually. So I'll do some numbers, and I'll see what we need to do to make sure we can do that and just plow. So I say we go for it, dude. So Sunday, guys. Sunday. Yeah. What time do you want to start? You want to go for like 7 again or 8?
I slept in this morning till 7:30.
Oh man, such a delicacy.
And I was like dragging the rest of the day. I had an energy drink a couple hours ago because I couldn't stand how much I was dragging. I felt depressed. I put on all this music that I love, and I was like, I can't even. I'm so tired and just exhausted. But I wasn't tired like sleepy tired. I was tired as in I had a really long week, and then I slept in, and so it was just terrible. It was terrible till a couple hours ago when I had my fix. Which I realized they're like, I watched a video where they're like, they're making energy drinks are addictive, and I was like, well, yeah, I'm kind of feeling it because I'm like, I just don't feel right unless I have my.
Yeah. Instead of pulling like a belt around your arm, you just put one around your neck, and then you drank the energy drink. You're like, oh god, you're getting all lightheaded. It's like, way. Oh man. Oh, I feel it. Oh, I can't see.
I'll be living with my Mormon parents for a couple more months, so coffee, the safer stimulation option, is not an option, believe it or not. And yes, it is insane, but that is the fact.
Have you brought that up to them, how insane it is?
Or no, is it just impossible? I don't argue with it because it upsets my mom a lot.
I guess that's fair, but it is insanity, though, honestly. Like, coffee is so much less caffeine, dude. So much less. It's way better for you. And it has other benefits. So energy drinks have none other than you're not dragging your ass around behind you all day, which is a pretty big benefit. That's most of the reason why you have caffeine to begin with. But, yeah. God.
It's crazy. They don't question it. And I go, okay. I'm not even gonna worry about it. And in order to make my relationship with them very smooth, which it usually is pretty smooth, I'm just not gonna say anything, and I'm definitely not gonna drink anything. So it'll just have to wait till I get my own place, which right now I'm saving up for. Twice I decided to save up. I'm gonna save up for a $3,000 car, just so that I could drive and do podcasts, not have to do Skype.
Right.
And then I'll move out and get my own place after that. So it'll probably be like 6 weeks or so. Anyway.
Oh, that's not bad if you can get just a little car for now. Something to get you by.
Yeah, I think it should take me 2, maybe 3 paychecks, depending on how things go.
Do you get paid bi-weekly or weekly?
I get paid every other week.
Oh, man. The best part about the delivering for me is I got paid weekly. So it was like, okay, I only have 6 more days, and then I get a shitload of money again.
Well, different companies do it differently. I actually not sure if I talked about this on UFF, that I got a job. Did I talk about that?
I don't think you did, no.
Oh, okay. So I finally got a job.
That's why it sounds like shit, by the way.
Yeah. I got a job working as a what I called on Nude Clan probably the most important job in the community. I think that in today's world of ordering things online and ordering your pet's medications, Schweiss, they have to get there on time, and a man has to drive around in a truck with no AC all day.
Clearly, it can't have AC.
Doorstep with that box and deliver it. Actually, I do have AC. I'm also giving up. My van is terrible because it doesn't have a door in the cab. I have to go into the back and get packages every 10 stops. I have to do that because I get a bunch of the little packages and I bring them to the front and deliver those. But I think it adds like an hour and a half onto my route. Anyway, it does this job, despite me not needing a degree at all for this position, just needing driver experience. This job actually paid better than any entry-level thing in my degree or any other entry-level job that I found that was posted online. So I took it, and it is some long hours at the moment. Although they have told me that you do get faster at it, and I know it to be true because other people do get their routes done a lot quicker than I do.
Yeah, you'll get faster.
I'm learning. I have to learn the city of Layton like I learned the city of Orem when I was pizza delivering, like the back of my hand. Yes. And then it should be pretty quickly. I do want to announce, there is the most beautiful USPS woman. I don't work for the USPS. There is the most beautiful mail delivery woman I have ever seen on my route.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so maybe we can connect via mail delivery somehow.
Okay, so the one, I gotta be quiet here, but the one that delivers mail to my place sometimes, like I was looking and I was like, oh my fucking god, that is like a 9 right there. She's holding my package in her hand and she loves it. Like it's all she's wanted to do all day long is just hold my package in her fucking hand and then stick it in that slot, man. Oh yeah, that's all she wanted to do. And I'm like, put it in there, baby, put it in there. And she did. She put it in that slot like a fucking champ. But
see, I grew up. I only saw like middle-aged. If there was a woman delivering the mail, it was like a middle-aged kind of fat lady.
Yeah.
But I saw what was probably a 21-year-old half Hispanic senorita delivering mail at the same apartment complex. I was also delivering very heavy packages too. So.
Well, that's good. You had something to cover up the rager with, at least.
Yeah, I got to. I mean this in the least creepy way. I have to figure out her route.
I don't mean to creep anyone out, but I must, in fact, stalk this woman, at least during the working hours.
Well, it took a second. I was just kind of like grabbing the package, and I had seen the USPS truck, and then I saw her walking with mail. I was like, oh, it's just some woman, some very fine woman walking with mail. And then I realized, no, that is the mail lady. And I was like, I'm working at the wrong place.
Yeah.
Not that I get to spend a bunch of time with the other drivers anyway.
That's true.
In fact, I spend almost no time with them. Pretty much said hi on my first day and then was like, okay, you got to do your crap.
Yeah, that's the best part, though. Those people that work overnight and like super long shifts, they're very entertaining. They're like fucking messed up, man. It's great. Like all they do is party and shit, and they're just
totally don't have that system where I'm at.
Oh, really?
No. Yeah, we have to load our own trucks. It sucks.
Yeah, same for us, but we all usually got there around the same time, so we would get to deal with each other. It was great.
Yeah, I figured our staff, the people that we work with at the main facility, I'm pretty sure that they're hiring people who can't hold any other type of job.
Oh, you think so? Is that why? Is that what? Are you saying that you can't? Is that your?
No. They can't drive the truck either. I'm pretty sure they're probably not allowed to drive.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
So I got my route is route number 2, and I see a lot of 112s and 102s make their way into the lot, and I am not too happy about that. Schweiss, what in the world are you doing right now?
Oh, I went to grab some more Pabst. I need to get rid of this piss water beer in my fridge, so...
Yeah, you got to explain to our people who don't listen to New Clan what your argument was last night.
Yeah. So, Joe, the thing is like I keep going off of my diet, and I'm getting fat for it, right? Like it's not a you lose it, you gain it, you lose it, you gain it anymore. Now it's like you gain it and then you lose 2/3 of it, and then the rest just stays. So like it's getting bad.
It's always slower on the losing.
It is. And what I keep doing each weekend, I'm like, hey, I have all this beer in my fridge, and I have to get rid of this beer. Like this beer it's taking up a lot of space in there. Like it's a ton. Like I could put another 120 eggs in there where that beer carton is, and I can't because I have the beer. So last weekend I was going to be like, all right, during the 14-hour marathon, since I'm already a piece of shit playing this video game for 14 hours in one day, I'm going to finish all my beer. I get going. I'm like, well, I can't drink now because it's first thing in the morning, and I'm going to drink all this Diet Coke so that I have some fucking energy in me. And then about 6 hours in, I finally start nursing a couple beers here and there, and I only end up drinking 6 of them. So this weekend, I had the same exact excuse. I'm like, well, I can't eat well because... I got all this beer in the fridge. I can't have that beer going on. And so Joe calls me out, and he's like, well, the only reason why you have beer in the fridge is because you keep buying beer. And I'm like, well, that's the thing. Like, I don't buy the beer. The beer just is there. Like, the beer, yeah, it mates. Like, I'm holding a can of Pabst Blue. It's not even Pabst Blue Ribbon. It's Pabst Blue Miller Genuine Draft beer. It's a combo, a sick and twisted combination of 2 beers in their lusty night. And like all I hear at night when I'm trying to sleep is just a couple beer bottles just clanking together, just mating in this fucking rut in my fridge. And I'm just like, God damn it. I can't get ahead of the game. They just keep procreating, and there's just more beer. I open the fridge in the morning, there's like little tiny pints of beer. And they grow fast. Yeah, little baby cans.
Flowers, they're full size.
Yeah, and then I come home and I'm like, fuck, man, it's a 40 now. God, there's like 30 of them. I can't do that.
Yeah. Each other like fish or IOPS or whatever. They'll go through, and then suddenly there'll just be a big keg.
Yeah, it's a keg, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome, but I will die from that. I will die from that for sure if I drink it. But yeah, so I'm trying to get rid of that shit, so that's why I stepped aside for a minute. But anyways, we should probably get into some Final Fantasy news.
Let's do it.
News. All right, so first up in news, the Final Fantasy 15 multiplayer expansion is the beta test is set from August 3rd to August 8th. Yes,
They're still working on Final Fantasy 15.
Yes. They want that. You remember them talking about that multiplayer thing a while back, right?
I remember them talking about a release date at some point. And have they not finished the game? Have they?
No. So users who have purchased the Final Fantasy 15 Season Pass or Digital Premium Edition will be able to participate in the closed online test. A download will be made available on the PlayStation Store and Xbox Store on August 2nd. Now, here's a little overview of the closed online test. Playable characters will be able to create, control, and save up to 8 avatars, so you'll be able to create your own little dude. The full release, it's supposed to have avatars using it. You develop avatars using experience gained from defeating enemies and completing quests. Updates will allow you to also play as Noctis, Glady, Prompto, and Ignis. There's going to be a lot of customization. You're going to be able to create a base camp. It looks like you can choose your weapon. Your attack patterns vary from those of Noctis, so it'll be kind of a different attack experience. I know that was something they did for FF12. Certain characters would have different animations for certain weapons, so I guess that's going to be kind of a thing. You'll be able to have a royal sigil, a lot more quests. You'll be able to get ingredients for new meals, meteor shards as quest rewards. Yeah, the cooking. Yeah, we need more of that, right? Dude, it's kind of bizarre. Like, the game's been out for a while now. I mean, it's been released for, 8 months, and we have a beta for for Final Fantasy 15 again. Like, kind of bizarre, but I don't know. Fuck. If they can implement it in a way that you can have a 4-player co-op through the main campaign, I would be all for that. I think that would be a blast. And I don't see why not, because even though, spoilers, one of them's blind near the end, he still fucking moves around like a man that can see everything and has never had a visual issue in his entire life. So I think that would be way cool if they did that. But so far, it just seems like an online thing. Speaking of FF15, the Regalia is coming to Forza Horizon 3. So yet another crossover advertising campaign from Square Enix. Apparently, it's going to be added to. It's going to be a free or available for all Forza Horizon 3 and Final Fantasy 15 players, free of charge, on August 1st. So you'd have to have both games, I guess. Oh no, sorry. It's you can play either game and you can get a free download to it. So it looks pretty cool. I mean, obviously it looks like the car. Unfortunately, it's not the Regalia, the off-road one. That'd be fucking sweet. You can do like derby races in it. But so far, it looks like it's just a regular one. I don't know. We're no stranger to 15 doing advertising things, so I feel like this is probably a more obvious and easy one to do than the Cup Noodle, as entertaining as that was in Final Fantasy.
I still kind of feel like, I wish Square didn't go under with their movie, so that Square would still be their company and their culture, and their thing of just doing the one game, leaving it be, and then working on the next game. Enix comes in, and then it's like, let's do 12 million different teams. Let's do all these little creative projects. Cell phone age comes in, and then it becomes, okay, nothing is one solid piece anymore. It's downloadable stuff. And I personally, I'm used to these Final Fantasies being kind of self-contained things. And I was happy with 15 as it was, except for the Adamantoise fight, I guess. That would be something that, future UFF-esque projects would be able to bitch about. It's like, oh, it's the worst super boss in the series or whatever, which it totally is. But I would be okay with it just being like this one solid complete thing. I'm okay with patches, but like they're milking this thing. I don't know if the Final Fantasy community is used to games being milked like that. It's not a shooter where you add extra maps and you're still playing the multiplayer mode with your friends. This is a RPG that you probably platinumed for the first time because you were waiting for it for so long. There's not much else to do in the game except for replay it a few months down the line if you want to. So I don't know. I guess they're trying out new things, but I would hope that they're at least planning Final Fantasy 16 / finishing Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring up Kingdom Hearts 3. We got a little bit of news about that I'm going to bring up later. So the Magitech exosuits that were previously scheduled to launch in February, but of course delayed because of the similarity to the Power Rangers, will be launched in July, apparently. So it should be already out. Equipping them allows you to be invincible for 30 minutes, as well as boost your fishing skills. After use, you can only use it, again, 24 hours at a time. So it's kind of, this is bizarre, but once again, we have another system in 15 that establishes a daily quest of sorts, right? So now you can go in and do your bullshit daily thing that you couldn't do before, but now you can go in and do that level 110 quest line with your exosuit, and that's your daily login, and then you quit, and then you play 14 for your daily logins, and then you quit with that, and then you play Brave Exvius for your daily shit.
Make sure to get that energy drink in there.
course. So Dissidia Final Fantasy NT is going to have a closed beta set for this summer. I actually have logged on and tried to sign up for this beta. I haven't heard anything back yet. You are invited to participate, to register to participate at the na.squareenix.com/us/dissident closed beta sign up. So go to their website, sign up for the closed beta. I really hope I get in. And I also hope that I reread their terms and conditions so that I can talk about it on the show if that is available. I skimmed, and it looked like there wasn't anything saying yay or nay on that. So it would be sweet to have like a little episode talking about how I felt about the Dissidia NT demo. But that's if I get in. So not quite sure, but you guys should totally try it. See if you can get into that beta and play the next Dissidia game.
Let's say you read it wrong, and then it becomes an episode about how you felt about the non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, I'm like, I think non-disclosures are fucking bullshit. What's the point of having an early critic showing if you're going to silence the critic? I mean, seriously. But, so it's either that or we do it anyway, and then we have a follow-up episode of, we got a cease and desist letter. Sorry, guys. We're just going to do 2 episodes of Nude Clan a week. One of them will be Ultima in Disguise, and the other one will be Nude Clan. So move over to that one thread. Yeah, don't say it. So Kingdom Hearts 3 development team is still debating whether to include a Sephiroth secret. Yeah, whether or not they're going to finish the game. Whether or not they're going to include a secret Sephiroth battle. So Nomura said he can't say for certain if there will be secret bosses. I hope, hint,
why would he say it? Why would he say it at this point? Come on.
Well, we know how horrible they are at, like, implying things. You remember that 14 convention where he's like, new job, and then he points at the Batman thing, and it's like, oh, okay, it's Dark Knight. Like, they're like, why don't you just say Dark Knight? Like, you gave it away epically. Like, it wasn't even like a subtle thing where you just had a Batman shirt on and you didn't motion towards it at all. So then it was like a cool little underground, like, oh my God, it could be Dark Knight. Maybe he likes Batman.
Surprised about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a lesson from James Cameron. Do you remember the commercials for Avatar? Let's not talk about like the quality. I don't know why we talk about this movie so much on this show. It's weird. But if you remember the trailers for Avatar, they were mysterious. They gave almost nothing away. It was just kind of like, what is this movie? And then it was quickly word of like critical praise and word of mouth that like suddenly everybody goes to theaters for like 4.5 months, and this movie becomes the biggest movie up to that point.
Right. Basically. There was nothing else out at that time, though. I do remember that because
yeah, it was smart to put it out on Christmas. But that's besides that. If you can just a whole bunch of people will buy Kingdom Hearts 3. A whole bunch more people will buy Kingdom Hearts 3 if their friends say it's amazing. But if you overpromise and underdeliver, like people have argued that FF15 has done, then I think you're making a mistake. I really do think they need to keep things closer to the chest, and at the very least, the presentation of it will be more impressive when we get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine if you knew nothing besides like if the only thing you knew about 15 was in the Versus trailers, and that was it. And then you got the real game. Like, think about what your reaction to that game would be.
Yeah, it would be like, wow, this is totally way more than what I was anticipating.
Instead they overpromised though. They gave a giant Leviathan fight, which we did get a Leviathan fight, and it was great, but it was totally different than what they had promised in their trailers. I think like them going, oh, there's going to be a super boss or there's going to be a Sephiroth fight. Like there probably will be a Sephiroth fight because they did it in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. But shut up about it. Jeez, people. Yeah. Like I don't want to be disappointed when I play it and be like, oh, I was promised so many things and it was
Yeah, you don't want to be one of those guys, but they almost make it that way too. And like it's weird because Square Enix they heavily advertise like the games themselves. Like for Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age, they had a lot. They had trailers up to and after the release of the game, and I'm like, geez, dude. I'm like, it's good to try to sell the product, but I mean, if you don't, to me, it seems like you should have everything that you want to have out on the table before the game comes out, and then the game releases, and it's like, all right, go for it. It's out. You do ads that say, hey, yeah, it's out, but like having having huge Let's Plays on the Square Enix channel after it's released just seems weird to me. I mean, I guess that's what Twitch does, but honestly, there are going to be enough Twitch streamers playing the game themselves that people are going to be looking at those channels anyway and deciding whether or not they want the game. So, and they do kind of give away too much. But then at the same time, I will say, Avatar gave away everything great about Avatar because it gave away the visuals. I would say so. It did give it all away.
It didn't give away all the visuals. Hold on now.
All right, it didn't give them all away, but it gave away the fact that, hey, this movie's gonna look really fucking good. It's gonna look awesome. And that's the takeaway from Avatar for me. It's like, man,
hold on, Schweiss. There are good-looking movies that suck. Avatar
that's true.
Is not a good-looking movie that sucks. Avatar is like a decent movie
that looks really good.
People saw, and so now everybody bitches about it. I would say like the opposite of that is like the Sherlock Holmes movie. To me is like it's so beloved and yet it's not. I don't think it's anything more than like a really decent movie, but not as many people saw it as saw Avatars, or everybody freaking loves that Sherlock Holmes movie.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and there's a few more examples of that. But anyway.
Yeah, so Kingdom Hearts 3 has less Disney worlds than Kingdom Hearts 2, and Final Fantasy VII Remake is further along in some areas, apparently.
That's the worst piece of news.
Yep.
I've ever heard.
Yep,
hey,
so...
they're developing. They're still working on it.
Yeah, basically, and there are a lot of little tidbits about it.
Kotaku article?
No, it's Gamatsu. Gamatsu, actually. So, yeah, there are a lot of little points about that kind of stretch it and say, hey, look, 7 is further along than Kingdom Hearts 3, which is kind of ludicrous because we saw Kingdom Hearts 3 trailers like forever ago, man. Like, Kingdom Hearts 3 has been in development for a long time. I've heard people talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 before we even started this podcast. Kingdom Hearts 3 has been on the radar longer than this show, which is ridiculous.
That first trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, I believe, was about a year before we started.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the 7 remake is further along, and there we are. So the last and the most important part of the news today: man pays $46,000 to look like Final Fantasy VIII's Dreamboat Squall Leonhardt. So
is he a Dreamboat? I thought he was like a My Chemical Romance kind of fanboy. Oh,
there's the image. So there's the one. All right, there's number 1, and then there's number 2 from the side.
You're gonna have to that over just a little bit. Thanks. Oh,
he looks like Squall there, but on the other one, it's not so much. So I would honestly be kind of upset if I paid $46,000 for that. Then again, I would never.
What did he look like before?
I don't know. I don't see anything about what he looked like. Before. He probably looked kind of like Squall before, and now he looks a lot more like Squall. But
Squall doesn't have any like defining features. He just kind of looks like a pointy, pretty boy male model with like 90s emo hair. I don't think that $46,000 was worth it. How old was that person? It looked like they were 19.
I'm not sure. Hang on, let me look. It says man. Oh, he's 21. He's a 21-year-old man. So here's what he looked like before. I know this is awful for the podcast
listeners. Where did
listeners.
he get $46,000?
I don't know.
Where?
But these are some images of him before. Okay, so he looked.
He probably has terrible parents who are like, you know what? If you really feel like you should look like this video game player from the late 90s, or this video game character from the late 90s, you know what, honey? You do what you want. We'll pay for it. Don't worry.
Yeah. So now instead of...
I killed your daddy to get his life insurance for a reason.
Yeah. So we have the show, Final Fantasy, has dealt with...
Gosh, kill that person.
What happens when he... What happens when he identifies as a cloud instead? What happens then? He's going to have to do another $46,000.
I regret saying kill him. Don't kill him. Let him kill himself. and not pass on his genes to another generation of people.
The killing yourself is a little fucked up, but yes, the gene thing, that is insane, man. $46,000.
Don't let that person procreate.
He's a Malaysian model too, so he's had several.
Oh, so he must be. Oh, models are crazy, so that makes sense.
He's had several surgical procedures with the intent of emulating everybody's favorite student mercenary. So yeah, 200,000 in his own currency.
Favorite student mercenary, huh?
I mean, I don't know of any other student mercenaries per se. So I mean, maybe that is a, generally accepted as everyone's favorite student mercenary.
Everyone's default student mercenary.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're my favorite dad. It's like, yeah, no shit, I'm the only one. I'm my sister's favorite brother because I have 4 sisters and no brothers.
Hey, some people have a couple dads, so
that's fair. Okay, father. Same. Actual donor of genetic material.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
It's like, oh, you're my favorite of this position that only you have. Good job, buddy. You're first and last at the same time. But, yeah. So that's insane. That's a lot of money to spend on what I consider nothing, but, what do I know?
Also, there are some plastic surgery procedures that you don't really notice. Like, I think George Clooney had eyelid surgery or something like that. But for the most part, most plastic surgery, it might look good for like a couple years. Then as you age and the plastic surgery does not, it'll become clearer and clearer that you had plastic surgery. That, or maybe it's like getting a tattoo. They just keep getting more and more plastic surgery until they don't look like a human being anymore.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, I don't know. I imagine it would have a large upkeep like that, though, if you wanted to keep it looking good, because obviously, yeah, like you said, you're going to age, and this plastic will not age, so it's just going to look freakish. But I don't know. Hopefully, maybe I'll get an Instagram and I'll follow that guy and I'll see him throughout life and see what he ends up looking like at the end.
There was a certain type of celebrity, a certain person type of celebrity that I really liked and was really into until she had a bunch of plastic surgery on her face and made her look like a plastic surgery piece of meat. Like,
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, it happens. It's I don't know. It's crazy.
I have
like
to be big since I'm at my parents' place right now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of crazy though how like uncomfortable people get when they have all that kind of money. Like I can't imagine it. Like I personally, I'm fucking balding over here, and like I look at Rogaine with like disgust. I'm like, no, that's letting society win right there. Having hair.
I don't think. We are pretty sure that Rogaine doesn't work, right?
Some people say it does, but I don't believe it because I know genetically I'm fucked. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, I just can't imagine it.
That Jeremy Piven guy, he gets the where they take the hair on the back of his like neck and then they put it in the front. I think he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But don't do it because it's lame. Just shave it.
And it's super expensive, and like honestly, like I don't know, I don't understand being so concerned with the way you look. And I mean, maybe it's just a thing that I can never understand, being the beautiful man that I am.
Yeah, that's because you're good looking twice, so maybe.
Yeah. So I
think for a moment on like the me's or the Craigs who don't look quite as good as you or Cameron. Think about our pain.
Well, you guys aren't going to have the pain because I'm the only poor fucker that's balding in this group. I'm the only man that... Oh, and you know what? I'm the only one that's not getting gray hairs. But, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to have any hair. They're going to be flesh-colored. It's just going to be my dome. So I'll have brown hair and nothing on top. God damn it. We're all imperfect here. Like, we're just fucking old men. Swear to God.
We're definitely not old men.
No, we're not, but we're fucking starting to look like it.
Thank you. I didn't think I was quite there.
Yeah. Well, now that you're out in the sun all the time, we'll see how you feel in a month.
Yeah, I'm gonna get all.
You're gonna be all fucking leathery and shit from the sunburns.
I have, if I got the open van, I put on the sunscreen. If I don't, I don't, and I get a little bit of sun, but I'm not like burning. So I am watching for that twice. I'm trying to be careful about that.
Well, that's good. That's good. So
Yeah.
You guys burn pretty badly. So, all right, let's get into this. Yeah, I don't think I have any of that. So yeah, let's talk about the perfect mix, the perfect amount of side quest content in the Final Fantasy series. Okay, so for me, Final Fantasy 12. I've been playing the game recently. I've been loving the remaster. I'm loving the Zodiac Age. It's been a blast. I mean, the game is different enough that I find it refreshing, but it still has that giant amount of content. It's still a very large world. It has plenty of things to do. And I know personally, and now I might be corrected on this, I think I have a different approach to the Final Fantasy series than Joe does. I am like massively obsessed with getting all of the platinum trophies for the games, except for Final Fantasy X-2, because I messed up and I don't want to go back and 100% that just yet. I don't want to suffer through all of it. There is a lot too. We're talking like 65 hours to platinum that, and that's going to be a total new playthrough. But other than that, I feel like I've done a pretty solid job of trying to do as many, if not all, of the side quests in the games that we've played so far. And Joe, I feel like your approach has been review the main story, play the main story. If you feel like doing extra stuff and have time to do extra stuff, do it, which isn't a bad way to go about it, but I do feel like you kind of lose some of the experience that the game has to offer, and you don't get as much bang for your buck out of it. But personally, for me, I find the games that operate more on a Final Fantasy 13-2 level are kind of the best way to go about it. I mean, FF13-2, did you do any of the extra quests in that game? Like, did you actively seek out any extra missions, any extra anything?
You know what, I'm sitting here slowly realizing a thought has like planted its seed when he said FF13-2 earlier in the episode, and has slowly grown into a Schweiss. I don't think I remember 13-2 at all.
What? It wasn't even that long ago.
I think I've forgotten the entire game.
Yeah, you changed the future, you changed the past?
Oh, okay. No, got it now. Thank you. I really was like, I know Vanilla's in it, and that's it. That's all I got. And Vanilla's not even in that game very much. Okay, all right. Change. Okay. No, I did hardly any side quests in that game because I didn't want to get stuck in some stupid thing. I wanted to know where all the pieces were to open up the thing, so I followed along with a guide, and then beat it very quickly. So that's what I did with 13-2. And I thought it was a good game, but I can't have an opinion as far as side quests and stuff in 13-2 goes.
All right. Well, for me, I mean, the fact that I think you put about 20 hours into Final Fantasy 13-2. It was about, and I beat it in like another hour and a half on top of that. And then I went back. And when I went back, I was able to add, I think I added like another 30, 35 hours, if not more, to my gameplay time, just closing out all of the side quests, solving all of the anomalies. And honestly, I think it had a great mix of side quests. I mean, there were some in there that were 15-esque, and they were just like basically fetch quests and like go do this garbage because I feel like it kind of quests. But overall, I almost felt more motivated to do it because I didn't have to do it. And like one of the things that Final Fantasy 12 does is you either grind a bunch of levels or you do the hunts, you get the extra items, you get the extra XP from doing that, and then you go beat the game. Now, I'm saying that more along the lines of the Zodiac version, because the original game I don't feel is that difficult. But 13-2, we breezed through it. Like, it's a 20-hour game. If you want to play 13-2, you whip out a guide, you find exactly where you need to go when, because it does get a little tricky opening up the portals and shit like that. And, like, if you open up the wrong one, you got to go find another freaking crux or whatever to go open up the new one. So it's like, fuck. I just want to beat this.
Yeah, I want to avoid all that. Sorry.
Yeah, so you just go look it up and you beat it.
I didn't avoid leveling. I think I did have to do some stuff to level up near the end because of that final guy. He was painful.
Oh yeah, that was a vicious dude. That took me a couple hours late into the night. It was like 2 a.m. when I finally beat that.
but maybe we should backtrack a little bit. Certainly in the first 3 games, I didn't do any side quests beyond like trying to find some good weapons. Like in the first one, it's not really a side quest, but there's a certain place where you can find the big sword.
Masamune, yeah.
Yeah, and there's something similar in FF2.
Right.
FF3, I don't think I did any side quests at all. FF4, I honestly don't think I did any side quests in that one either that I remember. FF5, though, I remember I was like, I'm going to do everything extra in this one. And excuse me. And I did that. And FF5 had it, and I'm pretty sure FF4 probably had it this way too, where there was a certain part of the game about just before kind of the final boss area that you go into for every one of these games. There's usually some massive or a couple massive dungeons and then a final boss.
Right.
But right before then, you get your airship. You can go anywhere you want to in the world. And then that's the point where the game opens up. Unfortunately, the original 13 did this, and everybody hated it. But once again, they've all been linear. And it's just been a lie the entire time. But
linearity is a lie. It's like the illusion of choice. It's the illusion of choice, I guess. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the illusion of choice. It'll give you just little tiny things you can do in each area.
Yeah.
And you can walk a little bit. You can walk more than in 13. That was 13's mistake, is that they just didn't cover up the hallway well enough.
Like even 10 covered it up a little bit more.
Yeah, 10 did cover it up. 10 was just as much of a hallway as 13 was.
Yeah.
But it did cover it up better, and it was also a better story, so people were probably more into the game. But that's what 5 did, and I utilized that, and I thought it was really enjoyable because, like, what you did in the side quests affected how you played at the end. So I knew I was going to do some ridiculous trick because I heard this boss was hard, and he was difficult regardless of what I did, by the way. Heard he was hard, so I was like, I'm going to do everything in this game. I'm going to get all the good stuff. I'm going to get the mimic ability and all by doing that extra dungeon and all this other stuff. And I did that, and I really enjoyed my time. FF6, similar experience. I got the extra stuff. I didn't do it. There was one thing I didn't do in FF6, which was the arena. But besides that, I did everything in the game. Yeah. And then really enjoyed my time, and it really helped the final boss fight area. FF7, I did a bunch of stuff that had been told I'd been told were great to do, so I tried to do them. I didn't do the super bosses, but I did quite a bit of extra stuff, more than I usually would.
Did you do chocobo breeding in 7? Did you have that experience?
I started it.
It's a waste of time if you want 100% it. Just FYI to anybody. You get a fucking gold chocobo from beating Ruby anyway. So, like, I beat Ruby, and I was like, motherfucker, man. I spent like 6 hours getting that damn chocobo thing. Like, a whole day of my life is gone from the chocobo. And now I have 2. I have 2 golden chocobos. I'm going to have to put this one down.
And for this podcast, I did a lot of mini games in 10. Of course, I didn't do much in 8 and 9 as far as side quests are concerned. 11, I did almost nothing extra unless I had to do it to get to the next area. But 11 is so many hours that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's
12,
like
12 though. 12, I did do a lot. I didn't do your getting the rare game thing, but I did do everything else in 12.
Yeah,
including fighting those 2 super bosses who are sick. One of which took me 4.5 hours. So here's what I'm noticing as I'm looking back at those things. As far as the sequels go, I haven't done much. The better the side quests are, and the more that it affects your play during the final sequence, the more likely I'm probably going to do it just for fun, rather than doing it, because I'm doing a Final Fantasy podcast. People have guilted me into doing the side quests, or I'm doing a Final Fantasy podcast because all I want to do is just beat this game and move on, which is most of the games. But yeah, I did a whole bunch of side quests in 12 because it was worth it in 12, and some of the side quests in 15 were also pretty cool and worth it. You get the extra swords and stuff like that. Not all the quests, obviously. There's a lot of, like you said, fetch quests. I think it really. Here's what I'm thinking. I am cool with side quests, but the quality of the side quest is what's gonna make me go do the side quest.
Okay, I would also say that the big reason that you gave me for doing everything in Final Fantasy 15, which we didn't do, by the way, there were a few things that we didn't touch on, which is sick.
Everything enough to get the platinum.
Everything enough to get the platinum, which used to be everything for the Final Fantasy games, but now not everything. There are a lot of things after the platinum in 15, and honestly, I felt less motivated once I got that platinum. I was like, I kind of want to leave it just because I'm done. Like when in FF10 when I got that platinum, I was out, man. I shut that thing off, and I was like, all right, that's it. I'm done with 10. I'm done with 10 possibly for the rest of my life because I've played the game like 4 times now, and I got the platinum trophy, and it took me 150 hours, and I don't think I need to play it in any time soon, right? But for 15, like, we had a lot left over, but I think the big reason that motivated you, and I think we talked about this on the show before, to get the platinum for 15 was the fact that we had been waiting for this game for, almost a decade at that point, before.
It's like 06.
Yeah.
So 11 years.
Like, I was in high school when this thing was announced. Like, this is some time ago, man. I mean, it's crazy. I'm thinking, like, okay, well, we got to put the hours in for this game because, it's a Final Fantasy, so there's going to be a fair amount of content in it, so I'm sure we can. Plus, there's trophies now, and I think, now is a good time for you to get your first plat, which you did. So part of me wonders, like, do you think you're going to have the same motivation for 16? Because, I mean, you hadn't played Final Fantasy 13-2 before. It was in the same boat as 15. I mean, it wasn't one that we were, like, waiting for a decade, that we'd been seeing for a decade, because they made the game and they released the game. So it was a normal fucking video game, right?
Within a year and a half or whatever.
Yeah. They made it and then they set it out.
It was pretty solid, too.
Yes. The first 8 games were solid, and they did those in like a year or 2 at most. Like, they pumped those fuckers out. That was their thing, man. They just like Final Fantasy every year. It's great. So,
well, I personally, and I know a lot of people, you're right, I don't like the fetch quests, but what I did in and of themselves, but unlike 14, when you're doing a fetch quest in 15, the exploration aspect of it is actually really cool and fun. I don't find the exploration aspect in 14, which also has a lot of fetch quests, very cool or fun, because, like, in 15, you would get to a new area, there'd be character-specific dialogue for this area, there'd be cool things to find, maybe new fish in a lake or something like that in this new spot that you had to, travel to, or maybe a new character has a more interesting side quest that you just found nearby because you got to that one spot. Also, I really dug the battle system, so I actually had fun, fighting the guys off. I think actually 15 did side quests pretty well, but yeah, I did, like, if 15 side quests were like 13's hunts, which I just found to be, unfortunately, was the only type of side quest that 13 had.
Yeah.
And they were far too difficult at a certain point for me to have fun anymore. There's like a difficulty and a fun level, which we talked about on this show, that I have sort of like a thing on, If 15 were like 13 in that way, then I probably wouldn't have done all the side quests and gotten the platinum. But 15 was fun enough that I did that. 12, same thing. 12 has it probably the greatest side quests. Maybe other people would argue like FF7 or FF6. But I think FF12 probably has the greatest side quest system in the series, with all the different types of things you can find and kill and areas to explore. And they're all special and unique and really fun in their own way. 15 didn't necessarily have that for all of its stuff, but the important thing is that the side quests are fun. They're not stupid like in FF10 or
FF10, like, that's kind of the anomaly, honestly. Like, the other favorite Final Fantasies of mine, they all have good side quests. Like, 7 has some pretty good side quests. 10 has the worst in the series, I would argue. 12s, which is one of my favorites, has I agree. I think it has the best side quests in the series. I mean, it's got a great amount of them. It's got a lot of stuff to do. And honestly, playing Zodiac Age, the big reason why I'm doing the filling the bestiary out, I mean, other than the fact that I know I need to for the Platinum Trophy at some point when I have enough time to play the damn game after we do 15 maybe, it's because I know there's enough that it's like, okay, well, you need to kill 8 more to fill out the bestiary for this beast. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll run around and spawn 8 more and I'll kill them. I need to level up anyway because this version of the game is fucking balls to the wall compared to the original one. I can't have everybody one person cast Protect on themselves and like share the mana. It's got to be one poor sap that's just blowing through every bit of mana they have. Sap is horrible in that fucking game, man. And then I'm too lazy to set up the gambits too because I'm like, oh god, I just want to play. But yeah, I think it has a great setup. I mean, there's a lot to do. All the quests have depth. I mean, each area has unique enemies to some extent. I mean, you always have the wolves, you have the elementals in the zone, but there are like special things that you can do. Certain like 100, 200 combos on a certain enemy spawns a certain rare game, and like shit like that's way awesome. So for me, it's like I think the perfect mix is either what 13.2 did, where it was, well, yeah, it's there if you want. Or like what you were saying, where it's like, well, it's there, so, I mean, if you're not good enough at this game to beat the game, well, you have all of these extra things. Like, go get the Mime class in Final Fantasy V, so you can mimic the Guild Toss and do 40,000 damage to X-Death straight up. Like FF6, you've got, okay, go get Offering, go get the sword, trade it at the Coliseum.
Do that giant tower.
Yeah, that tower was sick.
I know.
You got to have Life 3 in our version.
Yeah, all the characters.
Yeah, all of the characters. Like that's, and having all the characters in 6 actually matters in the final area because you have to break your team up into 3 different teams. And of course, Moogle Charm is the god tier.
You can go straight in with like 4 guys. They must have to be the beefiest characters ever.
Yeah, I can't imagine like someone like, oh man, I just, it's a solo fight. It's sick. I'm like, what? You're like, oh yeah, I only have 4 characters in this game. I have one party of 2, and then everyone else is on their own. Like they're level 99, and it's still hard. Like, but yeah, I feel like there is a certain element of necessity that I feel that side quests kind of need to be something that you're not only willing to partake of, but openly open to, I guess.
They gotta be fun and worth it. Now, Alistair obviously agrees. I see his little text there in the Twitch chat that 15 side quests were atrocious. And a lot of them were dull. I don't think they were atrocious. I think atrocious is broken. But there were new dungeons to explore that I thought were really fun. Anyway, it's about the fun factor and about the useful factor. Better if it's both, which I think the best, like you're trying to say, I think that when the game has good side quests, it is kind of both. It's going to make you a beast during a difficult final boss or difficult other fights. And it's also going to be fun going to get it. Maybe a new area, maybe a new type of function that you have to do. Anyway, I thought 12 was a perfect example of that. So I would actually say less 13.2 because I don't know it, obviously. 13.2 structure is made for extra stuff.
Oh, yeah.
12 is more the standard Final Fantasy. A lot of people might disagree with that statement. 12 is more the standard Final Fantasy where it has like a certain... They'll have little side quests along the way, and then at a certain point the world opens up. And then you'll be able to get those big things. Of course, now that I'm thinking about it, I think 12 actually opens up kind of more gradually than most of the other games in the series, right? Because you can go to other parts of the world a lot faster in 12 and be able to revisit areas and get to new areas.
Yeah.
And you don't just have to wait till you get the airship.
Right. If you can walk to it, you can get to it. Now, should you be in some of those zones at level 10? No.
No.
But Caleb and I, we both rushed Zodiac Spear during our playthrough for the podcast, and we should not have been in the area that the Zodiac Spear is in. So it was hell on earth getting in to the Necro Hall of Nabu Dis. Like, it was fucking brutal, dude. That area is like pure metal and traps, just traps for days that will insta-fuck your entire party. But you know what? It was worth it because we both knew, okay, the best weapon in the game, 130 attack in this fucking dungeon. If it's there, we're good. If it's not there, I open up one of those stupid chests and I'm going to kill myself because I'm never going to get that thing. So we went down there, we grabbed it, we left, and, you know, we fucking dominated the rest of the game. Like, and there are so many, and there's a lot to be said about that. Like, it's a game that, sure, certain areas are going to be locked off that you have to fly to, and the only reason why your characters fly to them is because, oh, hey, you need to go find this shard, this magicite that, you know, is super powerful, and you can use to take back your kingdom, Ash. So, yeah, we're going to fly there. And in any other circumstance, you wouldn't think to fly there. So, like, the limitations in that game are a little... It's very open in that way, and it is kind of a gradual introduction if you just follow the story, but you can enter areas that you probably shouldn't be in very early. I mean, during the playthrough I've had for the Zodiac Age, I went into the Feywood. I don't know if you remember that area. It's the area that's like super misty and has the... Yeah, like I went into there when I was like level 20. Level 25, that was fucked up, man. I was like, oh, let's see how it is just attacking one of these little pumpkin guys. Not a good idea. Like, I killed him, but he killed a couple of me while he was at it. So, I don't know, there's a lot to...
does a good job hiding the bowling barriers, you know?
Yeah. And I think 10, the only reason why 10 does it better is because the fucking hallway is a little wider is all. That's the only difference between 10 and 13. 13's like efficient hallway, like just enough room to walk around. Like 10's like, okay, this hallway, like we probably could have put another room on the side of this wall over here, but instead we made it a hallway. So yeah, I don't know. I think it does require a good mix. Personally, regardless of what happens, I'm going to try to do everything in Final Fantasy 16, mostly just because I'm a trophy whore.
If they ever actually make it.
If it ever comes out, yeah. Although, I mean, 15 did well, and we know the Final Fantasy 7 remake is going to sell like hotcakes, so I don't foresee 16 not happening. Unless they try to make another movie that that bombs epically, and then
some other company will buy them up, and then it'll be like Capcom, Square, Enix.
Yeah, Square Enix, like a sick trifecta, and it just turns into like weird Resident Evil RPGs, and like it just falls. But that would be quite the thing to happen. But yeah, I don't know. Side quests, I think it's. I don't know. I kind of agree with you.
Well, explain, because there are some games where you didn't do side quests on, and I didn't do side quests on either.
That's true. FF9 and
FF9 did not do the Chocobo Hot and Cold thing.
No, and that's the biggest side quest in the series, as far as I've heard.
That seems to be the only side besides the card game. That seems to be the only big side quest in FF9, though, and I think that was a giant mistake. Same with FF8. There were a couple. Extra summons you could grab, but besides the card game, there wasn't really anything.
Yeah.
So I think they had a couple games in there, or 2 through 10, where the side quest options were kind of low, and at least not interesting for me. There are certainly people who love those card games and who have told me that Chocobo Hot and Cold is really good.
Yeah,
of course, there was no point in the game that I actually got to where anybody said, "Would you like to play Chocobo Hot and Cold?"
Right.
I had no idea until after we were done with the game that it was like, "Oh, Chocobo Hot and Cold exists," I guess.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of bad implementation too. Like the nice thing with the hunts is like the game is very open about it. It's like, hey, you know, you have a quest in the main story where it's like, hey, here are hunts. This is what a hunt is. This is where you go to get hunts. Hunts give you rewards. Hunts give you really good items at times if you do them when you're supposed to. If you do them when you're level 80, like I did the first time, they don't give you jack, but, you know, there's still cool enemies to go kill. But the game introduces them in a responsible and an early manner. Whereas 9, I agree. I don't remember seeing anything about Chocobo Hot and Cold, and like, I should have probably played it just to get that experience because I have heard great things about it, but I don't remember hearing very much about it. And then also, some of the mini games, it almost feels like heck, if we would have heard about the game halfway through our playthrough, it's like, well, now it's too late because you're supposed to do it at this point in the story so that you can, you know, earn a certain amount of whatever and like hit certain areas at certain times to get the quest completed in a timely manner, rather than having to go back and like backtrack throughout the beginning of the game and then finally get to the end of this thing and get to do the super boss.
I mean, there are those things, but it is an RPG, so there are going to be things that you can miss if you're not playing with a guide. I would reiterate once again, I think a lot of it has to do with how fun it is, and then variety. 9 didn't have variety. 9 had 2 things, as far as side quests were concerned.
Right, and the card game.
Side quests.
The card game, if you want to do it, like you've got to put a lot of time into it. And personally, I just don't. I didn't find the card games that riveting to play. Like they're fine, and like the idea of playing them maybe in 14 is kind of cooler, like against actual people, but against NPCs and like with rules changing in 8 and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I want to jump into that. That seems like a massive time sink, and then like. You lose all your cards. Like, I tried, man. I tried to play Triple Triad in 8, and I was awful at it. I was fucking horrible, and I lost my Ifrit card, like, immediately. And I was like, fuck this, man. Like, I didn't even save my game. I just thought, oh, you know, it's the first guy that has cards. I can probably beat the first guy, right? Like, the game's easy on me, right? No.
The rule now changed to all. Way to go.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? Oh, shit. And then it spreads like some sick STD throughout the camps.
Dude, if you, oh man, I screwed myself out of it because I remember I played 8 and I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get the whatever by getting all the cards or whatever.
Yeah, his weapon.
I was trying to do.
It's his weapon in the beginning where you have to get like you have to farm cards to unlock it like on disc 1.
Oh, that's right. And then I decided to make my guide, which is getting the Lionheart the easy way.
Yeah.
Instead of the fast way. I remember. Yeah, and then I got the all rule spread, and it was over from there because then people would take all your cards. Yeah, and like there'd be like the multiple flip rule. I don't even know what it's called, but like they flip one and then it just goes haywire. It's awful. It's awful, dude. Oh, you just reminded me of the FF8. The brief time I had with FF8 where I was like, I'm gonna make this card game work for me, man. Didn't happen. It's terrible.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was bad for me too. And part of it might just be a lack of understanding, but Jesus, man, the rules just like when they start spreading like that, it's like, oh man, the game's not even how it's supposed to be. Like you gave me a set of rules in the tutorial, but now it's not even that. And like this guy's just like. It's like trying to play Monopoly with a younger sibling or some shit. They're just making up rules as they go and expecting it to be law. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't just make up rules in this game. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, but if you have three aces, you just win automatically. And then they lay down 3 aces. Yeah, it's fucking dude. So yeah, it's.
I think you're playing some house rules on that. I don't think there are any aces in Monopoly.
Lies, plenty of aces. But yeah, I think regardless, I am going to play everything in 16, but I do feel like it has to be one of those two systems. Either the side quests need to be apparent and not necessary to beating the game, or they need to be necessary and need to be fun. A lot of the stuff in 15, as everyone's shit on over the last few months, does get pretty repetitive. It's a lot of fetch quests, but those hunts that were great in 15, like the zoo hunt, and the hunt for Deadeye were fantastic. Those were great. Like, if that's what they all were, then 10 out of 10 on side quests. So, like, I
also love the photography and exploration quests, personally. And the extra dungeons to get the other swords.
Yeah, I wish I would have done Piteos, the Return to Piteos, but I couldn't handle it, man. It was just too much near the end.
Jake has taken over the screen and then announced that there is a ton of other extra side quests in 9, none of which I recognize. Absolutely none of which I recognize.
I did the frog catching, the jump rope, and I started doing Mognet Central, but I lost track of a few things, then I quit.
Were any of those like a dude with a storyline telling you to go do a thing, and then you doing that thing and getting a reward for it?
I don't remember.
Because that's how I kind of see side quests. I don't see side quests as like the tiny little mini games.
Yeah.
That can pop up in some of these games, although those are nice too.
Right.
Like the basketball or something.
Yeah. Well, it's awful, but it is the best way to get the points in the arena for sure, or not the arena, in the gold saucer. So yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do with it. Hopefully they do take a more FF12 approach where like it's kind of a middle ground. Like, yeah, you don't have to do it, but you might as well because you need to get stronger, kind of a thing. So, but yeah, as long as they're fun, I'm game.
I would also add another caveat as far as our approaches to side quests. Now, of course, you try to get everything done regardless, but I do have to say that running a couple podcasts, even just running this one, you look at how many games we have left to play and to review, and the fact that we got to do this every single week, and there are things that need to be maintained, and we have to have some social media presence, and it just takes a lot of work, which I like to do.
Yeah.
But then I'm not like, I don't want to spend 2.5 months on this one game because there are 46 more games to go.
Right. Yeah. We don't want to be Retro RPG Podcast. No, those guys are great. I have laughed my ass off listening to them review Final Fantasy X multiple times, and they showed me the derp face that Titus makes. Like, that was those guys. I didn't know that existed until I listened, and I watched that video, and I was like, what the fuck? It's like with him and Seymour at the wedding or something like that, and he's just making this face, and it's like, dude, it is out of this world. Like, yes. Yes, and I was like, what in God's name is that? Like, it's great, right? But they review games. They come out with episodes like sometimes once every 3 months.
Three times a year.
Yeah, it has been that way. I
used to listen to it, and then I stopped because I was like, they have this other guy doing another show on their feed. And I was like, I'm not that I care about this other guy or whether or not he wants to do a show, but I prefer the one show that I was subscribed to, and so I got sick of them not putting out stuff, so I just stopped subscribing. That's what happens, man.
Yeah, it's that's what happens, and like we don't want to do that. So there is a certain factor of, okay, is it fun enough and necessary enough for me to do it in the confines of the show's timeline? Because like we do have a time limit, and like that's why we chose to do what we're going to do in Final Fantasy XIV with the raids and the dungeons and as many of the trials as we can / want to do, is because that is the fun part. That's what makes that game awesome, is the teamwork element, not the running around doing fetch quests, killing sharks, and helping the people out. Like, that's great and dandy, and the story's fun enough, but the teamwork effort, the group fights, the group dungeons, that is what makes the game great, and that is why we have done every dungeon up to this point.
Yeah. John Henry asks, why are my babies separate?
Yeah, we Joe and I had a scuffle. No, he's working super late nowadays, so we have to record remotely with him via Skype. It's also why your Joe baby doesn't sound as good as your Schweiss child. It's not a little loss in quality, unfortunately, via Skype, but yeah, we'll get through it.
It's only going to be a couple more months. Don't worry about it, guys.
Yeah, only a couple more months.
Or convince Schweiss to give me a ride.
Dude, I thought about it, but I was like, I'd have to give you a ride back. Guy lives an hour and 20 minutes away if I'm going 80 the whole time, which is probably not going to happen at 6 o'clock on a Saturday. But nah.
All right. Well, what do we want to close this episode out with some questions?
Yeah, we got a couple questions lined up. Let's tag those.
Let's do it.
questions for us. We would like to hear from you. You to our forums or contact us on Twitter. Get on and ask your questions. We'll answer them within a week. This is the question segment. Ask and you will receive.
So, Graphophobic asks, states, unappreciated moments in FF games. Have you guys ever felt that there are certain moments / cutscenes, etc., in FF games that hardly get mentioned when talking about the series? But in your opinion,
we totally did an entire episode on this.
We did, yes.
So yes,
we do, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Not about the series, but in your opinion, are actually really impressive. For me, this has always been the case for FF7's live stream scene in Cosmo Canyon, where Bugenhagen explains the circle of life of the planet, so to speak. Not only are the visuals and the philosophical content of the scene gorgeous, but the music piece live stream playing in the background is actually my favorite piece from the whole series. The way it slowly builds up, the way the player is taken through the model of the solar system is just truly beautiful to me. Yeah, we've totally answered this, but let's see what the other listeners have to say. Fruff says, that's a really good one. I like this question a lot. The live stream scene is a great one and certainly rarely mentioned when I hear the game discussed. I don't know if this counts or not, but the one that sticks out to me was the first time I summoned Ifrit in Final Fantasy VII. Got off the cargo ship, headed to the Coral Mountains, and used them on some birds or something like that. The mountains were a great backdrop to the summon's first time use. Graphophobic replies with, okay, got to your 100th episode where you actually dealt with exactly this topic. Yeah, sorry for the repetition. I am still catching up on your current episodes. Wasn't aware you'd cover this ground before. Anyway, nice to know we ask ourselves the same questions about the FF franchise. Rodel Fotech says, we can easily visit various... what the fuck? Oh, that's totally a spam post. I didn't notice that.
Oh, wow. Is there a spam that we didn't
hit? We can easily visit various wigs, different hairstyles all around us. It's not at all often these are natural hairstyles, but the synthetic hairstyles have got excellent wigs in the structure market these days. Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, this is great. Thank you. Indeed. Here we are discussing wigs as well. Let's repeat the total term lance front wigs. We.e. periwigs. A wig is known as a synthetic brain wigs for women that is certainly made from horsehair, natural splendor, sometimes made of wool wigs for black women, feathers, yak curly hair, zoysia grass curly hair.
I'm putting anything called yak on my head.
Yeah. As additionally artificial materials, wigs which might be largely donned to be able to wigs for women showcase trend. Thank you very much.
Fair point.
That is great. I didn't notice that, but it's probably just because it's so nonchalant in the beginning. Fuck that. All right, so this one's a good one. Joe, if Square Enix wanted to hire you to direct a Final Fantasy movie, ... what would you do? Let's say that Square Enix's new CEO stumbles on this podcast on his commute to work one day and likes how you both are genuine fans with real opinions. He hears that you are a director, wants to get a movie try again at Square Enix. So he contacts Sony's film division, offers you a $160 million budget, which is
too much,
ridiculous.
Too much. The movie's not going to make that much.
Yeah, don't do it, man.
Don't do it.
Working with Sony to supply you with any technology you might need to make the greatest video game movie and greatest Final Fantasy movie ever made. He has 100% faith in you and gambles the future of the company in your hands to the displeasure of all the shareholders. He asks you to send him some ideas and a draft for the script. What do you do? Any actors you would try to cast? What kind of story would you write? Any screenwriters you would hire to help you? Would you hire Naboo to do the soundtrack? Filming locations, CG, or practical effects? What would Schweiss do? Would you cast him in the movie? Probably not. With a good amount of money, do you think you could deliver a Lord of the Rings quality Final Fantasy film?
With 160, no. Because I think Lord of the Rings combined, I think it was like 300 million.
I would not be surprised. Those things look great, even now.
And that was in 2000, so that was probably something like 450 million now. I have, believe it or not, I have thought about this, stupidly. I would try to convince them to do a series. And I would have them do, like, something with the FF7 characters. But let's say it was a movie. What's not specified in the question is whether or not I'd be adapting a game, or whether or not I'd be doing a sequel or some other spin-off that's Final Fantasy related. What do you think, Schweiss?
Well, knowing Shinru, I would kind of assume it would be at least related to a game in the series. I don't think he would want a Spirits Within kind of Final Fantasy movie. So I would say, I don't know if I would adapt a game into a movie, because we know how well that goes, but perhaps have a game that is influencing the film itself. Or else you're going to run into Spirits Within issues where no one knows what the movie is. No one knows like why it's called Final Fantasy. It's just a big mess.
Yeah, that's a giant mistake. I would tell them not to spend $160 million on it. I would rather do $40 million and make it an anime movie, and make it a sequel to, I don't know, or a sequel or a prequel to FF7. I'll tell you what, I would love to work with, if we're talking screenwriters, I think Paul Haggis, who wrote and directed Crash and who wrote $1 Million Baby, and who also wrote many cutscenes for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I think he would be the perfect one, because obviously he knows video games and he's a very good screenwriter. So I think the first person I would go to would be him. As far as like, he understands video game storytelling and may have some ideas as far as adapting a video game into a movie. Honestly, I could not tell you what I would adapt out of Final Fantasy. There's already a sequel to Final Fantasy VII, because that's where I would probably go if Advent Children didn't exist. But it would be a totally different movie than Advent Children.
Yeah. I would hire Aaron Sorkin, so I'd have really quick, fast dialogue the entire time.
Totally would not fit the Final Fantasy universe at all.
I would be the most dialogue-heavy movie of all time. It'd be great, super fast.
But you know, if you were taking a story from FF14, that might actually be pretty close. Just pure dialogue.
Yeah. Greatly written, though. It has to be like Tarantino awesomeness, right?
It would be better written, regardless, because I don't think Aaron Sorkin does bad writing.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So I would have him. I would have him do the story, the script. I would have Tarantino write it, so it would be zany and all over the place. Or no, Tarantino would direct it. So it would be all of my favorite movies ripped into one.
Tarantino don't direct someone else's script. He don't do that.
I would make him do it. Either that or, like Loki Lionheart in the chat says, Final Fantasy series, and you mentioned this earlier, a TV series. Get HBO on board, get a lot of titties.
No, do Showtime so that they'll want to outdo HBO. They'll probably be more into it. HBO already has Game of Thrones. They don't need another Game of Thrones.
That's true.
It's like Caleb Craig was like, oh, I hope the Wheel of Time series goes to HBO. And it's like, no, you don't hope the Wheel of Time series goes to HBO. It'll be buried there. You got to hope that someone else like wants it and wants to beat Game of Thrones with it.
Yeah.
I think that's more important.
That's fair. That's fair. I would go, I don't know. I think I would probably do maybe an FF6 thing. I don't know if I'd go FF7. I feel like FF7 is kind of beating a dead horse at this point. I mean, it is a great story, and it has a lot of open ends. I mean, there's a lot of things with the dialogue in the original game that is very confusing, and there are just so many ways, so many directions you can hit 7 from, as far as like creating something that is a retcon, but isn't necessarily in violation with the lore that we currently have. I don't know. I think I would be more interested in a TV show than a film, though. I feel like it's a big enough topic that I feel like that's the problem with video game movies is we're taking a 40-hour game and we're trying to punch it into an hour-and-a-half time slot, and it doesn't work. And they're not going to make a 2-hour video game movie. Like, that's And then when they do, it's painful, right? Like the Assassin's Creed movie was bloated as hell. Like it's so I feel like that's where they get it wrong, trying to put it in the wrong medium. I don't think video games make good movies necessarily.
I had this theory on Nude Clan, and I'll restate it here. We of course have watched some bad video game movies on Nude Clan, what I have thought of is, you can you can't always do it successfully. In fact, most of the time it's not successful. But people, they adapt true stories into movies. They adapt books into movies. They'll adapt plays into movies. And all of those have successful and not successful versions of that. When you, for some odd reason, or I don't say for some odd reason, when they adapt a video game, they always seem to fail. And what I'm thinking is that maybe the thing is that they're both visual mediums, and they kind of work. A video game works more with interaction, and movies, of course, they deal with other things, and you're just watching, so you have to be interested in the watching, not just the interacting with it. So they're both visual things. They're both telling stories visually, and so when you've already watched the Final Fantasy movie, you watched all the cutscenes. Adapting that would be, I think, futile. And of course, you're not going to get as much stuff in it because, once again, like you said, there's 10 hours of cutscenes in Final Fantasy X.
Right.
So how are you going to take that down into 2 hours and satisfy anybody with it? You can't. You can't do it. So it's going to have to be a sequel or a prequel. One of the games of the series. I think 6 is an excellent one. I think 4 would be an excellent one before Cecil becomes maybe at the end of the movie Cecil becomes the paladin.
Yeah, that would actually be awesome just to see his internal plight.
Start the story earlier, and then it's his journey to becoming the paladin. I think you could totally do that. I think that actually there's one right there. You have a character arc right there that you can move the story around. Of course, there's romance with Rosa, and then there's Kain and all that, and the relationships there, and then they're doing battle, and he's not feeling right about it, and he's going to turn on his empire eventually. Now, that's just the very beginning of 4, but you could start earlier, and you could have an interesting series or an interesting movie based on that. I wouldn't do it a live-action movie. I think I would do it animated so that it would fit the series a little better.
Yeah.
And not creepy, uncanny valley animated. I would do straight up cell animation. I would say, you know what, take 100 million of it back.
Yeah.
Don't let the company sink because of this experiment.
Right. Yeah, I feel like, and I don't know what it is about the Final Fantasy movies, but I'm a lot more accepting to the animes than the films themselves. And I don't know if it's the medium it's being told in. I don't know if it's actually better. I just get when I watch that Brotherhood segment, those 5 episodes of Brotherhood, I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was great. I thought it fit the universe well. It gave me a good amount of information. I found it enjoyable, but Kingsglaive I find a rat fuck. Like, it's a giant mess, right? So maybe it's the medium. Maybe we're a little more accepting of the style. I don't know if that's fair or what, but I don't know. I feel like I would definitely go that route as well, though. I don't think live action suits it. And I also don't necessarily think super hyper realistic 3D models fit it either. Like, it's an anime kind of thing. Like, make it an anime, make it completely animated, make it all hand drawn, make it great. So
I would of course cast Jake Gyllenhaal as Cecil if it were live action.
Yeah, that would be great. He'd be great as anybody, though, honestly.
And like Bradley Cooper as Kain or something. And who would play Rosa?
I think Bradley Cooper would make a good Locke as well. I think he would.
Oh yeah, if there was an FF6 thing, yeah, probably make a good Locke.
Yeah. See, Rosa, I don't know. We could do. Who's a good blonde? A chick from Passengers.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, I think Jennifer Lawrence would do well for Rosa.
That's Jennifer Lawrence is a lead. She's not too much of a supporting, unless she's doing a David O. Russell movie. She's not going to be a supporting character.
True. Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to get her to be cast as the supporting kind of two-dimensional woman support role.
True. You did give back $100 million too, so we got to be careful.
Emma Watson wouldn't be too bad in that role. She's about the right age for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's not as much of a lead. She was a lead recently in Beauty and the Beast, but besides that, she's usually a supporting character.
That's
actor.
true. Yeah, she is. Yeah, interesting question though. I definitely agree with you. Give back $100 million though, because I'm not comfortable holding the life of your company in my hands. I am not responsible. You don't want this.
Do you guys remember what you did? Oh wait, no, you're a new president here at Square Enix.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
All right, so look at this
The
timeline.
brand is powerful, but it is not that powerful.
Yeah, you got to realize you're not even the biggest role-playing game series. Pokemon is so easy with that shit, right? Yeah, great question though, Shinru. Thank you all for submitting your questions. You can submit those questions, of course, at ultimafinalfantasy.com, where you can find our forums, our episodes, all of that great stuff. Make sure you check that out. Check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/ultimafinalfantasy. You can see all of our past videos. I've got a great video series on the Final Fantasy XII Rare game and hunts. If you're playing that Zodiac Age, it does still apply. A lot of the stuff can be grabbed through the trial mode, but if you don't grab it there, you can grab it in the real game itself. So check those out there. So you can support the show on Patreon. It's patreon.com/ultimafinalfantasy. We got a few reward tiers. We got a few episode invites we need to be digging into here soon. I'm going to work out scheduling for that here in the next few weeks for one of you. I'm not sure who yet, but it'll be iffy, and it'll probably have to be on Sunday because that's the only day we definitely have off at a reasonable hour. If you want to support us there, you have that option. We also have a Amazon link. You can buy your Amazon products through that link. We get a small kickback. Doesn't cost you a thing. It's a great way to support the show. Check out our other shows, Nude Clan Gaming. It's a great video game show with Joe and I, and then Caleb Craig and our good friend Cameron. We got a game about review about, or an episode, about MOBAs coming out here in the next few hours once we get it all mixed. And yeah, shit. I think that's about it.
For those Patreon people who may have missed the post, Dave has a little something. A couple little something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, a couple new releases of Final Fantasy covers. So please take a look at that. We will give that to the
a year and a half in the making.
Yeah, that's the greatest things ever have blah 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 in the making, right? Jurassic Park, the cover of Suteki Dane, English and Japanese, guys. Get excited about that. We'll probably release those on the show at some point, but we're gonna give you guys on Patreon some exclusive access to that. So check it out. It'll be there. Enjoy it. I guess you got anything else you want to add?
No, man. I just gotta sleep.
You just gotta go get some sleep. All right. Well. All right, guys. Until next time. As always, enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGolier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.
All right, man. It's been a while since we've done a one-shot Ultima episode, but there it is.
Did we go? Well, we didn't have a mix in the middle.
No.
You didn't stop in the middle.
I gave it some silence, so you'll see it.
No, I won't.
All right. Well, okay, you won't, but there is a spot where you can cut it.
Yeah, I should have just pressed the record button, start and stop, because that means I'd have to drag all the way through there and find a different moment of silence than what I'm sure has happened a couple times on this episode. Linkin Park, dude. Very talented singer, and his music was really important to me when I was a teenager, and they had 2 good albums. But I gotta say, I haven't listened to Linkin Park in a while, so it's not like I was following them, so I wasn't like devastated. Like if one of the guys from Metallica did that right now, I think I would have to miss work. But sad that he died. Sad the other guy died a couple weeks ago too. But I didn't listen to his music either, so I don't really have much
Chris
to
Cornell.
say. Yeah. I used to love listening to Meteora though. Really liked that album.
I just like the fact that Faceless beat it out. Godsmack album. I was really proud of that.
Well, when I was a teenager, like I would listen to that music, but then like after a few years, I think I was probably around like 20 years old, and I realized I'm like, this is whiny.
Yeah, I hit that too.
I know that Linkin Park's lyrical stuff improved a lot through their pop stuff, and it was a lot less whiny. But then it was like, I'm not into that either. So I feel like Linkin Park just kind of missed me. Maybe I'll revisit their pop stuff later, and I might like it later. But right now, not a big fan. But yeah, he was a good singer.
Yeah. Oh, great news, by the way. I'm gonna order a DVD of Wing Commander. I found it. Online. There's 1 copy left for $10.
Someone was putting links in the Discord channel. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I just found it while I was hanging out because I was thinking about it when we were talking about movies and awful video game movies. I was like, oh yeah, Wing Commander. We need to fucking get that. So
is that next week?
Yeah, it's supposed to be next week's. Yeah, from what I remember. I mean, we have the site. We could look.
When am I gonna watch that thing?
You should rent it tomorrow.
Is it on Amazon?
It is, yeah. Order it through the link. Oh, shit, it doesn't count for you because the link's on your account. Shit.
No, when you rent something, though, I don't think it'll count anyway.
I think it does. I think we get like a few cents.
Maybe it'll be... iTunes is a little easier for me. Gosh.
Oh, okay. If it's iTunes, it's only a $3 rental, so make sure you grab that.
I'm sure that movie's going to be amazing.
Oh, dude.
I'm ready for it.
I am pretty impressed with the wiki already. It's... grossing a little over $11 million.
With the budget, what was the budget?
The budget was $30 million. So,
ooh,
yeah, certainly a failure. Probably the biggest failure so far in the video game movies. So, I'm excited for that shit. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Twitch. We will
Jake,
see you.
Were you going to support? Hold on, Jake. It's not like your options are support suicide or don't support suicide. I don't think anyone should support suicide, regardless of the age. I find your comment very odd.
If it was Lars, nobody would care.
I like them as a teenager, but can't support suicide. It's selfish when you're that big. Is it selfish just because you're in a big band, or big as you're an adult, so you're a big boy? And also, who's supporting? Yeah, exactly. Who's supporting suicide when you're little? Unless you're the guy who recreated the squall look.
Yeah.
Then.
Oh, that was Pixel. Yeah, that wasn't Jake. It cut into his is green, so it hides it. I think the idea is that if you're big like that, I mean, people look up to you and you do that, but I don't know if I buy that because a lot of people also think people look up to the teenage Final Fantasy characters. And as a teenager, I looked up to adults. As a young adult or as a 12-year-old, I looked up to adults, not children. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I know Dr. Drew has a theory that it was autoerotic asphyxiation and just accidental death.
Oh wow, that would be interesting. Huh?
Because what I had heard was that he was found naked, and it's like, you don't kill yourself naked.
Yeah, you don't want to be remembered that way.
Yeah.
At least I
So-
don't.
So, and he also, I guess he knew him, and he was like, I don't believe it. I believe he was also a recovering drug addict, and that's a common cause of death because it's a way to get that rush without drugs.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting theory. Of course, it's not nice to talk about, I'm sure, since he has 5 kids surviving him or whatever. It's not being like, hey, your dad choked himself and jerked off.
Yeah. I would be like, well, at least he was trying to get his rocks off instead of actually trying to kill himself. I would find solace in that because I can understand trying to finish yourself off. If that's what it takes, it's what it takes, right? But, it's a little far. A little far. But,
I don't know. I'll have to listen to because I only heard it recounted on Adam Carolla's show. I'll have to listen to it because I guess he said it on the Adam and Dr. Russo show, so I'm gonna have to find it and hear the whole case.
yeah, I'll have to listen to that. That's interesting.
It is sad that he died. I mean, I felt like pretty bummed out for a few hours after I heard about it because I was going to work, heard it on the radio, and I was like, oh. Well, that's sad. I'll listen to some Linkin Park music, and then I was like,
No, I won't.
nah. He is a really good singer, though. I did like. I'll tell you what. I really love that Wretches and Kings song off the album that everybody hates.
The most recent one.
The 1,000 Suns or whatever. No, so like, remember when their albums were like 6 years apart?
Yeah.
Yeah, now they have like 12 albums within the same span of time, I swear. They pulled an opposite of Metallica, where Metallica like had a bunch of albums really quickly, and then now it's like a billion years in between. It was like the opposite with Linkin Park.
Oh, wow.
Like, we're going to take 12 billion years to make an album anyway. I listened to Numb as well. I listened to Numb and Breaking the Habit, which I think Breaking the Habit's a really good song. I was also shocked at how short their songs are. It's like, oh, I forgot how short these things are.
Yeah, no kidding.
Jeez. Are you uploading those files?
Not yet, man.
Couldst thou please, if you want me to mix them, couldst thou please upload thine files? Anyway, that's the extent of my LP knowledge. LP is an album, right? Like crazy.
No, an LP is like a mini
I
thing.
thought that was LP.
Oh,
LP.
you might be right. Yeah, LP might be an album. What's up?
You don't know what LPs are? I don't either, but so I'm guessing you've
their
never had
background.
an album of
Right,
Linkin
yeah.
Park. You
What
just
their
only listen
objective
to
is
singles.
basically
Alistair.
to stop
Oh, Linkin Park.
light from
God. Jeez Louise.
Dude, super kudos to us. 3 one-shot files getting uploaded right now.
Oh, nice.
That's what we
guys,
call
also-
professional podcasting, right fucking there. One shots. Boom. No editing.
All right, well, I hope you enjoy your Game of Thrones while I sit in silence, not watching any.
Yeah, enjoy that silence, man. Let me know if you have any problems with the files.
I'll try to remember to mix them into the correct size this time. Did you
Please.
see any cool stats?
Yes.
Yes.
It's looking good.
Are we still the biggest in California?
Yes.
Okay. What about Texas? How's Texas looking?
Still really big too. So it's looking great. Great places, wonderful places, right?
All right. What places suck?
Montana. Montana sucks real bad. So does Nebraska.
I have a family in Montana. Come on.
Have
Come
them
on.
listen to the show, man.
I guess like Montana, maybe they're like 10 years behind. They don't know what a podcast is quite yet.
Yeah, we'll get really big there in like 2030.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got to take off, man. Got to watch some Thrones with Dylan. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out on the stream.